Some bad news now for tenants this morning after a new study has shown the cost of rent is still on the rise. For more, we're joined now by Dr. Andrew Wilson from Domain. Good morning to you, Andrew.
Hi, Lisa.
So we're trying to work this out because we're in the middle of a building boom, but rates are at an all-time low. So why are rents going up?
Well, it just illustrates that underlying chronic shortage of rental accommodation that most capital cities do have. And despite building boom, particularly apartments, we're making no inroads into lower rents. In fact, rents are continuing to rise, so very sobering news for tenants.
How long until we will see a fall, or is that just not going to happen?
Oh, I don't think it's going to happen, and part of the equation is we have very low numbers of first home buyers. They're struggling to get into the market. They have to rent. Rents keep rising. That makes it harder for them to get into the market, and on we go. So I don't think there's a lot of relief in sight.
All right, well, let's do a whip around the country. We're going to kick things off in Sydney, traditionally such an expensive place to live.
Well, look, yes, we've seen Sydney unit rents rising. We're seeing rents for units and houses in Sydney perhaps starting to converge. So it might not be too far in the future when a rent for a house and a rent for a unit in Sydney will be the same.
Wow. How's Brisbane faring?
Well, look, Brisbane had its first rise in house rents for 2 years. It's been quite a modest market or a moderate market for tenants, but signs again that rents are on the rise for units as well in Brisbane, and that's had a building boom for apartments in addition to Sydney and Melbourne.
And what about heading to South Australia, Adelaide?
Well, look, Adelaide too is a very tight rental market. Rents up by 2.9%. Rents were flat for units over the years, however.
Melbourne is on the rise?
Yes, again, that big apartment boom in Melbourne hasn't pushed down rents. In fact, rents for apartments in Melbourne up by 4.1% over the year. That was the strongest rise of any of the capitals.
OK, but you've got some good news for people who want to rent in Perth.
Well, look, Perth certainly has gone backwards, and Darwin as well. Those resource states are struggling with the downturn in the mining sector, and it's really coming back to more of a normal environment because it had very strong rent rises about 2 or 3 years ago. But the only good news story in Australia.
Mind you, for anybody who owns an investment place over there, that's not good news at all.
Well, there's always two ends of the pineapple, isn't there?
OK, good to get your perspective as
Thank
always,
you,
Andrew.
Lisa.
Thanks a lot for that. Well, coming